Okay, so what I'll do is I'll introduce you know if you could introduce yourself, tell me who you are and what you do and that sort of thing.
Oh my, what do I say?
Just so we have some kind of context. So
Yeah.
so when I say who is this guy, give a name and all that sort of thing. Okay. All right. So we are rolling. So tell me, who are you?
I'm Bob Dobbs. I'm chairman of the Secret Council of 10, which manages the Global Theater via Tetrad Management.
Okay, what is the stuff?
What stuff?
Oh, all the stuff you tell me that.
Wait, you're supposed to talk about Louis Louis, not what he is.
Here, give me my book. Here's
All right.
my book.
Okay.
Here, let me hold
All
the
right.
book up. Yeah, this is explains what I do. Vatican Communion with Bob Dobbs.
Okay.
So that can be stolen at any fine bookstore.
Okay. Do you want to talk about any connection or
I'll get you, buddy.
no? Just for the sake of phrasing everything.
I want this on there too.
All right, we'll see. All right. Well, just for the sake of the people that a lot of people know who Bob Dobbs is in terms of the subgenius. Is there any connection through that? And is there, are you connected to subgenius, or were you connected, or what's the story? I mean, who is the real Bob Dobbs, and what's all of that about? And why aren't you smoking a pipe?
Oh, my father did that. I didn't. The thing is that Reverend Stang met me in Dallas in the late 70s, and I think I had an influence on him, so that he created this image and myth of me as a pipe-smoking icon from the 50s. So I had nothing to do with the book and the church that Stang organized, but I was the inspiration of it.
How'd you get the name?
I was born with it. My family goes back generations. I'm mentioned in Charles Dickens' stories. Catch-22 refers to me. There's a character named Dobbs, played by Martin Sheen in the movie Catch-22. It's a family name.
Do you feel that you are a reincarnation of anybody?
No.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, let's talk about the first time you heard Louis.
I heard it. I was working in Paris in '63, setting up the assassination of President Kennedy. And when did it come out? Was it summer of '63? Do you know?
The Kingsman's version came out.
Okay. Was that the first version? I mean, of 63.
Right. Well,
is that the first version of '63?
Well, no. The first version was actually. Hold on. Here, I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to try another angle here. I'm shooting too much up your crotch.
No, was the first version the Kingsman in '63?
Oh no, it was Richard Berry.
Oh, I know that. I'm talking
Okay.
about '63.
Oh.
What was the first and only? How many versions were there in '63?
Well, after Richard Berry, there was the Wailers.
What year was that?
Early '60s. I mean, it was like a big Portland hit for a while.
Okay,
a big Portland Seattle
the
hit.
one that we all know
Okay.
that went international was the Kingsman, right?
Right.
And when did Paul Revere do it?
He did it within the same week.
Okay, so it came out at the same time.
Some people think that Paul Revere did it first. Some people think the Kingsman did. That's
All
part.
right.
That's part of the controversy.
Is that June '63?
Around there. Yeah.
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 Okay, so we're now rolling. You shifted.
Yeah, we're rolling.
Okay, so so I was in Paris in the summer of '63, and I heard it there, and we were setting up the assassination of President Kennedy on the Secret Council 10. I was in chairman of the Secret Council then. I was a working lackey involved in Big Brother activities. So when I heard it, would you like me to explain what I thought of it?
Yeah, tell me what you thought about it. What was your reaction when you first heard the song?
Well, since I'm now 71, and so in 1963 I was 41, because I was born in 1922. Is that right? Yeah, 41. I was preparing the world for the Beatles, but I knew that the computer environment had to be predicted. See, pop culture is the language of the mixed corporate media. It's a rhythmic version of advertising. So advertising is the commercials and propaganda for the relationships in the mixed corporate media, and pop music, rock and roll, is the anthropomorphic body rhythms from the human being's point of view of the rhythms established between the mixed corporate media. So it is advertising for the human scale dimension. So it will predict technological effects, and it will retrieve technological effects. So the computer environment was coming in from 1960 to 77. The TV environment was from, say, 50 to 60. Louie Louie represented the 2-bit wit of the computer environment, where you take 2 words and create a whole world out of it. The computer environment, the digital computer, is based on a 2-bit wit. Now that was a social reality that would manifest in extreme in the 70s. But I saw Louie Louie as a world created by 2 words, like Finnegan's Wake, which was created from 2 words, those 2 words being James Joyce. Louie Louie was the radio version, the musical version of Finnegan's Wake. Finnegan's Wake was all media in print, so it included rock and roll, and it also included the effects of the computer. So just before television becomes an art form, as the computer environment takes over as the hidden ground between 1960 and 77, as TV surfaces an art form, that's manifested by the Beatles. You have one song that indicates the demise of the singular performer, like Elvis, and predicts the retrieval of the singular performer in the 70s after the tribal effect of TV passes through the Beatles and the psychedelic phase. So Louie Louie remains eternal because it expresses the rhythms of the computer environment that was surfaced in the 70s. It predicts that, but it also retrieves the last vestiges of a private personality consisting of 2 words, like your social security number. 2 bits, a number, 2 little syllables that evoke a whole context. All right?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try this angle again here.
You might want to ask me something if Eric doesn't know what to say. Okay, Jerry, you can respond to that. That might get me some more.
I'm gonna pull this thing out because it looks like it's going out of your head a little bit. So I'll put it over here, I think.
So that means you can't use anything.
It means I could use it. It just means it's.
No, you just move the brown over, Eric. You might move it back.
That's okay. I'll make it work. I think I'm gonna try something else here.
No, I think you should expound on everything you just said.
Yeah, it was a big
Yeah,
paragraph.
I'm not sure about the 70-year-old stuff though. I mean,
What? You're not gonna, that's true.
But it's true, but it throws off your legitimacy.
Whoa, I'm not trying to be legitimate. I'm just telling the truth,
Good.
right?
Okay.
So don't want to edit that. And I want you to put Bob Dobbs and a little name tag under, in the subtitle.
Yeah.
You put age 71, okay?
well, I can't promise that though.
Well, why not? Is this a movie or is this
Sign
a
in
Pepsi
blood
Cola?
right here, Eric.
Well,
Is this Pepsi Cola?
it's my film.
Eric, yeah, but I mean you're censoring me.
Well,
no, Bob,
there's
I am fucking censoring. Get this,
Yeah,
get this on the film. But I am 71 right to
But look at this is Eric.
Are we dog ears or?
We're gonna have the 60 minutes version of the making of.
All right.
Here's
Hold on,
Eric.
hold on.
I don't know about this fucking.
Yeah, I don't know if
shit,
you-
Bob.
Well, I don't want to look too much like being taken for a ride. I mean, I don't deny that.
You don't want to look. The whole goddamn movie's a ride, for fuck's sake. Louie Louie. I mean, how could that be serious? Other than I'm making it the most serious it ever could be.
I know.
This is the
would be
thing.
great.
I'm giving it fucking scholarly, sociological legitimacy, and I'm going to be edited out because he said he was 71.
That's it, Eric. That
that's
will
the.
help him because.
Let me give me the quote. That's what I want to do next. Give me the little Louie thing you showed me, because this is what the whole thing's about. On the flyer, yeah.
Oh, that's
If Louie the Louie isn't, it says here, a stupid song, a brilliant song. We're not taping it, are we? We're still
Of course we are.
What?
Yeah, we got
Oh,
it.
good.
Yeah, sure, we're
doing
good.
this? An urban legend, a sacred text, a song with roots, a glimpse of the future, a song that defines our purpose, the very voice of barbarism. These are all characteristics of Finnegan's Wake. Finnegan's Wake is a sham and a masterpiece at the same time. Louie Louie is a sham and a masterpiece at the same time. So, as Finnegan's Wake is relevant for all media, Louie Louie crystallizes the electronic module of consciousness, the tiny cliche that can be retrieved and reworked and replayed forever in a musical medium, an electrified musical medium. So you can't ignore the fact that some of these phrases here, a song that roots into the brain until there's no erasing it. Barely a song at all, like Finnegan's Wake, a whole universe made out of 2 words. In this case, Louie Louie, 3 chords and a cloud of dust. But the dust is what gets in the electrified society's vision. And Louie Louie and this whole issue causes hallucination on all levels of society, from J. Edgar Hoover to pornographers to Dave Marsh doing a book on it.
Why is Louis such a strange song? What makes it is what it is?
Because it's mud, in the sense, it is the pulse of the heart while on drugs. And all of society, once TV came in, was on a drug, the electric drug. So the muddy effect of the TV language creates a bias and a instinctual feeling for a song that's mud. And Louie Louie is mud. Mud is made up of a simple color, but sometimes it gives the illusion of depth when you look at it. Louie the Louie gives all kinds of depth to various institutions in society. They project their own longings, purposes, and goals into the song, including individuals, but institutions. And so the whole spectrum of society identifies with the word that makes the market, and pop culture is the word that makes the market. It's the fashion that keeps the war machine going. The war machine is hardware, pop culture is software. The software feeds off the hardware. But hardware needs to have a mirror, especially an echoing mirror, to look in, and its rhythms change every 6 weeks, so you have a new pop song every 6 weeks. But the textures of Louie Louie and most songs that have staying power are textures that echo the most basic rhythms of the mixed corporate media, which is a tactile, muddy rhythm. It is the rhythm of the brain and the heart at the same time. You know, the mind, body, in simple terms. Put them together, you've got mud.
Okay. Let's talk about this Finnegan's Wake a little bit. Let's try to expand on that whole theory. I haven't read Finnegan's Wake.
Right.
Let's. I'm totally not. I've never read any James Joyce in my life. What is Finnegan's Wake all about? What is Louis? How is it really connected? If you could rephrase it in another form.
Okay. Finnegan's Wake was James Joyce's last work. The one he's well known for is Ulysses, where he mated a book with the movie. So it's mating of two media, the printed book and movie. The environment of the teens and 20s was mainly movie oriented. Charlie Chaplin is the key archetype in Ulysses. That's the movie environment. Radio takes over in the 20s and 30s. So he decided to mate the book with the radio environment. So Finnegan's Wake is an expression of an average person in the 30s going up and down the dial, whatever country they were in, tuning into languages and stations and countries broadcasting from all over the world. If you had a shortwave radio, whatever kind of system they had back then, you could hear all kinds of languages. Now, that is the daily experience of the average software consumer in that period. It's a fact. We all lived in at that point. So if you want to paint a picture of that in book terms, you collage 60 to 100 languages, 60 to 100 languages on a book page. And that's what Finnegan's Wake is. It's a map presenting the daily electric life of people in the 30s. So that's why it has many languages muddled together on the page. So it cannot be read like a normal narrative. But you have to realize that Finnegan's Wake is not a narrative kind of book. It's a mirror held up to society, to the actual technological experience they have. Now, within the 628 pages of Finnegan's Wake, he takes these languages and organizes them minutely so that you are presented the history of technology via the 10 thunders, which are sprinkled throughout the book. So, by doing that in the 30s, he was able to anticipate the effects of all future electric technologies, including the computer and CD-ROM, as well as to retrieve Paleolithic sensibilities and, let's say, Terence McKenna kind of mushroom sensibilities that was retrievable and presentable in Finnegan's Wake, as well all future possibilities. So in Finnegan's Wake, he has references to Marshall McLuhan, who Joyce didn't know. He has references to Tim Leary, and of course you'll find Louie Louie in there. So Louie Louie is in Finnegan's Wake. All you have to do is look up on the concordance of Finnegan's Wake under L and get the exact page number. But all phrases and all cultural reference points are in Finnegan's Wake. So it is an incarnation of the Akashic Records, the occult theory that at some place in the universe all time is happening at once, and you can see the past and the future. Well, Joyce tried to bring that into the book medium, and he felt the radio was the beginning of the Akashic Records coming live into society via the fact you turn on the radio, you hear voices from all phases of society, all phases of evolution on your average talk show today, and back then the voices of history are there on your radio, and that's an art form in itself. But since he was a literary man and dedicated the book, then he presented in book form. So that's why Finnegan's Wake is rock and roll in print, because rock and roll is the rhythms of radio sensibility of the 30s and 40s processed through the TV sensibility.
And what year was Finnegan's Wake written?
It was written from 1922 to 1939. It came out in 39. But his basic pattern and understanding of what he was doing was crystallized by 1930. So he had an idea, he worked on it for 8 years, and then he crystallized it from 30 to 38, and then it came out in 39. So he predicted the effects of television, and the effects of television was, in musical terms, electrified musical terms, a new kind of music that would have rhythms alien to the sensibility evoked by the radio environment, which was big band jazz and swing and blues. The African American was the first culture to integrate the whole world. The language of jazz and of African American music went around the world in the 20s, and all cultures could experience it. So they created a global Esperanto. Now, rock and roll replayed the Esperanto of the African American music, but the rhythms of rock and roll were, say, a capsulization of all the pop tunes in Tin Pan Alley and blues reality of the 20s put together in a 3-minute segment, so that it was, because society was speeded up and miniaturized under TV and computer conditions, then the music changed. So rock and roll came out of the Esperanto of the radio era, but it turned it into a mirror of an echo of the TV environment, illustrating the industrial urban rhythms of the radio era, which were the hidden ground of jazz, and made it unbearable to the radio era consumer, but was meaningful to the TV era consumer. So the rhythms of TV created rock and roll. And I'm saying that Louie Louie, the fact that a little phrase created a whole mythos, was it predicting unconsciously the effects of the computer world, which was a 2-bit world that we all experienced in the 70s.
Okay. Some people think that Louie Louie is an obscene or somewhat suggestive song. What do you think?
I think that the user is the content. I didn't think it was obscene at the time, and many other people didn't, but I knew a lot of people who did. So the important thing under TV conditions is that the content of culture, movies, magazines, or whatever, radio, and pop music, is not something that's to be argued about. Because since everybody fantasizes their own projection in the content, since it's mud, then why make an issue out of it? I think the fact that it's something to dance to is the main importance. Okay, so then how do you tell the dance from the dancer? Now, J. Edgar Hoover and these people represent 19th century institutions who projected their own purpose into the music. And so they're supposed to monitor, almost like grammarians, the content of the music. That's their institutional job. Even though it's obsolete by the 60s, they still had to do it. So they look absurd, but they're acting out their institutional mandate. But since everything was gradually being swallowed up under the TV computer matrix, it becomes a source of comedy. But I think the young people in the 60s did not hear language. They just respond to the rhythms. They dance to it.
Is there such a thing as an obscene song, or is that, if there is such a thing as an obscene song, how would you define an obscene song?
I don't think there is such a thing as an obscene song for me. But there is an obscene song for all different kinds of people and different levels of society. And whatever they think is obscene, then it's obscene in those terms. So it's relative.
Have you ever?
But it's real for those people and those communities that find it a threat. But when you're doing Secret Council 10 work and managing the mixed corporate media's relationships, you're not concerned about the content.
Right.
You know, and you don't even project. Like I don't have any favorite movie stars, pop stars, or any stars of any level, because it's the form of the medium that I'm interested in, how it changes society and changes other media. So I never adapted to the controversy of content.
Okay, Bob. Assuming I do decide to use some of the stuff where you're connected to the Kennedy and all these other type corporate conspiracies,
Yeah.
Why should I believe you?
Oh, I don't expect you to, because this is a medium that makes content irrelevant. All right, so I can get away with telling the truth because nobody's going to believe it. How could anybody who was really involved in killing Kennedy admit it? All right, that's the normal supposition. But I admit it because I know the mud of the mixed corporate media will not interpret it the way I'm meaning. So it doesn't matter whether it's said or not. I'm just telling you for the record, that's a fact. And I do it on my talk shows and my interviews. I say it all the time, and most people don't believe it. But why should I stop myself from saying it?
Okay.
Since everything's disappeared and nobody's going to prove it, and if I was involved with it, then therefore I control the organization of how it's sort of revealed, then I can get away with it.
Okay.
But I couldn't prove it to you.
Okay.
Unless I showed you some footage, of actual
Yeah.
records of what we did in our plannings, but I'm not going to show that to you.
It's an open question right now. I'm not even sure if I really want to tie in the JFK assassination to this film because I'm in all honesty.
That the timing is important, I think.
Yeah.
That's what I mean is that Louie
Yeah.
is a prediction of the impersonal, dehumanized world of the computer environment in the 70s, just before the Beatles come in as therapy for the Kennedy assassination. We marketed the Beatles to provide an antidote to the depression caused by the shattering of the image of JFK. All right? But Louie predicted the computer environment and the 2-bit width of the computer environment. Oh, it stopped? Well, that's
Yeah, I've got
yours.
to change tapes here, so let me...
That you should go back and do that whole thing
Yeah.
because that's the best thing Bob's gonna be able to tell you
Okay, let me
Well,
drop
the Beatles.
another tape in here.
about the whole rap about why. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Beatles,
Louie,
JFK,
yeah.
Louie,
That
Okay.
key year, 30 years ago, 63,
Okay.
was a big year.
The important thing is if you could try to do it somewhat concise, and
Right.
somewhat concise, because understand that I am going to chop the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So the shorter, the more concise, the easier it is for me. Because
What
the
I say-
long drawn out sentences are good for written text, but
Yeah.
for interviews, I'm probably scratching my head a lot.
Well, yeah, that's why you should say,
Yeah.
this isn't 40 minutes, you've got 30 seconds, Bob, say it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're halfway through.
Yeah.
We're halfway through.
I mean, I'll
Okay.
try to do a couple of 30-second
Okay.
sound bites.
I mean, I'm just going to throw some open questions out to you here.
Yeah.
But the important thing is you've got a thesis here, and if there's any way you could phrase it in a way that is easy for us, a short-term attention span soundbite, folks, let's make it happen. I'm just going to record about 20 or 30 seconds because the first part of the tape is usually the part that gets chewed up anyway. So we'll just waste a little bit of time right now while we wait for everything to just go chomp, 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 and you can nod your head a little bit.
So I will, in this 30-second bite, point out the JFK assassination, what Louie predicted, and what the Beatles retrieved.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the main thing here. Okay, so let's bring it all down to a sound bite. Okay. Let's
You're getting ready?
Get rid of that phlegm. Okay, we can rock.
Hack, fart, and
swallow.
spit right here at Fialka's Funny Farm, and he swallowed it. Ugh.
Yummy.
Okay. So, let me just think for a second how to get into it. This is the 30-second one.
Do you want me to pause?
Yeah, hold the tape just for a second until I get...
Okay.
You get a glitch when you release pause?
Not really. Not really but I try to allow a few seconds.
Yeah.
You know, I always try to allow for things like that. But no, I really don't get a glitch on this equipment.
Are you looking at something?
I'm just fucking with Jerry's tape.
Oh. he's ruining your tape.
Does it say REC in it?
Oh, I can't tell. I don't know. I'm not looking through it.
Oh.
I just put some figures in front like that.
Oh, just look.
I can't do that. Otherwise, if I do that, I'll get the.
What page are you on, Carol?
Okay.
Is it all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, I'll put a cork in the front.
What page are you on, Carol?
Hey!
Oh, good.
This is a duck. This is a duck.
Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to say my point, and then I might want to say it again. I got to see how it comes out.
All right,
time.
okay.
Say it again. Just say it over and over
Yeah,
about
so we
3 or
can-
4 times. And you
Concise.
In 30 seconds.
Concise and precise. And then I'll try to throw out some other Louis questions there.
Okay, so it's ready? You got it going.
We're rolling.
Louis predicted the effects of the computer environment. The computer environment created a 2-bit world. It required the management of the White House. It required Secret Council 10 operation and control. It required, in 1963, the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Louis predicted that world, and the Beatles came in to retrieve the cocoon of warmth after the Kennedy assassination. Okay, so that's one way to do it.
That sounds good.
You know what? Shouldn't you be looking right into the camera too, Eric?
Yeah.
Okay, right.
You'd be more effective. You look.
Absolutely.
Right
You got to look right in the camera. You're gonna take this audience.
Yeah, I don't have
home.
my glasses on.
Drop fucking Secret Council 10 out of there.
Yeah. And don't say how old you are. Oh, I'm 71.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to use it. If you start saying that, they're going to say, they're going to say this guy's full of shit.
This guy, he wants
knows
a
what he's
real
talking
documentary.
It's my ass on the line, so I'm not.
In other words, I have to be serious for your movie because you're trying to make a serious movie.
I'm not going to put shit out that doesn't work for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line.
So you don't want any silliness in it.
No, I want silliness.
That was perfect, Bob. It dropped Secret Council 10
So
out of
I
there.
can't say.
No, if you really want to, go ahead.
So I'll just describe the technical effect.
It's none of this 70-year-old shit, because I don't buy it. I'm sorry. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit.
He could have got $1 million. He could have got funding.
Bullshit, bullshit.
He could have got $1 million for this.
Okay, all right. We're wasting tape.
Okay. Television became an art form in the 1960s. The Beatles emanated the resonance of the television environment as an art form. However, sneaking up behind the scenes was the computer environment, which was going to bring in a 2-bit world. That 2-bit world was a world made of 2 words, and Louie Louie was the song that predicted that. Louie Louie represented a whole world coming, and Louie Louie represented and anticipated the tragedy of the assassination of President Kennedy, and the Beatles recovered a sense of warmth after that. But Louie Louie remained strong and concerned about the 2-bit world evoked by the computer.
Okay.
That was
Now,
good. That was good?
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
no,
Okay. Okay. Now we got to roll. Okay, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, we're rolling still. Now I want you to tell me who the hell is Louie Louie? Who the hell is Louie? Who's he singing about?
He's talking about Louis Armstrong, okay? Now, this is my point I said earlier, and again, I'll try to crystallize. Rock and roll retrieved the jazz Esperanto brought about by Louis Armstrong and the African-American music of the 20s. Television replayed that with a speeded-up rhythm. Louie Louie is a celebration of the Esperanto of Louis Armstrong and an explanation of the absurdity of the effects of Louis Armstrong, because it was all going to be wiped out, including the civil rights movement, by the economic effects of the computer environment, which would inflate everything into a world of meaninglessness. So Louie Louie is an exemplar, a module of consciousness expressing rock and roll, the inheritance of Louis Armstrong, but obsolescence at the same time. Therefore, Louie Louie is mud. Here's mud in your face. That's Louie Louie.
Okay. What sort of emotions go through your mind when you hear Louie Louie on the radio or in the background?
Emotions?
Emotions. What sort of emotional? Do you get emotional pulls?
Yes, it brings back 1963, the era just before the Beatles. For me, it represents life in the fast lane in Europe. For me,
What were you doing?
I can't talk about that. You'll edit it.
All right, okay.
Why waste state?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right, let me
Media
put on pause for a
ecology.
second. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what else is in the content of Louie Louie that we could talk about?
Okay, how has Louie Louie been swiped and used in other songs? Can you answer that one?
Well, no, that's musicological stuff, right?
Okay, all right. Well, let's see. What do you want to talk about in terms of how Louie ties into there? How about friends named Louie? Do you have any friends you want to talk about named Louie?
Yeah, well, that's Secret Council 10, Louie Lepke in the 30s.
Okay, hold on.
Guy, but
Okay,
we can't use that.
okay, let's talk about it.
Louie Lepke?
Who is Louie Lepke?
Okay, now that's another interesting thing about the meaning of Louie Louie. On the sociological level, Al Capone and the mafias took over under the effect of radio and telephone and telegraph in the 20s. That was decentralized and spread around the world through the drug traffic in the 60s due to the global management capabilities of the computer environment. So Louie Louie on another level celebrates and makes fun of the Louie Lepkes of the 30s, the friends of Dutch Schultz and Lucky Luciano, who took over management of cities all around the world in the 50s and 60s. But Louie Louie made fun of them, and we've now manifested that in the 80s with the arresting of the mafia as the world imploded and management did not need organized crime anymore. It now required decentralized, unorganized crime. And so Louie Louie predicts that.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. All right. What else can we ask? What else
Lucky
can we ask?
Louie Luciano.
That's not bad. I like that actually.
Okay.
I'll put on pause for a second while we think of some other questions here.
What were some of the lyrics of interpretations of?
Well, I can't tell you the lyrics. That's a classified secret.
Yeah, and also nobody knows, right?
Oh, I know, but I can't tell you.
I told you to keep that off the hook, so don't answer, okay, Jerry? Or
No, here, look.
Maybe it's Frank.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Frank says, "I'll do the interview. Come over tonight."
Hello. Yeah.
You couldn't get Frank?
I did. All good.
Oh, Doug.
No, forget him. He's not Frank.
No, this guy is supposed to come over. I forgot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell him to break Frank.
Right.
What happened when you just couldn't get?
Couldn't do it.
Nobody would answer.
No answer. No phone calls. No letters. Nothing. Nothing. No acknowledgement. No acknowledgement. So whatever. Life goes on.
Tomorrow's fine for us. It's better he comes over tomorrow, Bob.
He can't make it tonight?
No.
Okay. What, at nighttime?
Yeah. Well, he's got to get up early. So the earlier the better, because he's got 2.5 hours for border show Saturday morning.
What time is it now?
So
I can't read it. I'm blind.
just give me a time.
I have no watch.
Okay, I'll tell you as soon as Jerry. I have to set this time here.
I watched. I hate doing that.
Come over after that. So, yeah, so 4:30 to 5. So, yeah, so 5:30 looks good.
That's good.
We'll have dinner at 5:30. Sounds good. That's perfect. We'll have another session. See you then, Doug. Thanks. Bye.
Good. I forgot about him.
I know it. That was perfect.
Yeah. What's the time? I'm glad you didn't have the phone up. He needs to know. Eric needs to know the time.
It's 10:05.
Okay, all right. Well, let's do a little more here. What I'd like to do is maybe rephrase who you are, what you do,
And you know what? I was just going to suggest, excuse me, let him tell the whole little Louis thing again. Because the essence of the Beatles, Louis, and Kennedy, in essence of who he is. And don't say Secret Council 10.
But I did it. I did the second one. That was good.
I know, but I think you should do it again.
That's
just my opinion.
Just in case I say it better?
I think it works, and I think I could probably, I think between the 3 or 4 versions that we have.
Oh, you got
3 versions.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it'll probably work, but
now I got to say who I am.
Yeah, that's the important thing. I'd like you to just say, who you are, and
don't say Secret Council 10. Don't say.
Well, what the hell?
Just say I'm Bob Dobbs.
I'm Bob.
You can say you are the original Bob Dobbs. You are the guy that was appropriated from some other organization, if you want to say that.
Yeah.
And say that you don't smoke a pipe and you don't do this, but you are who you are and whatever. So I'll just
don't even talk about so much that. Go into the content of what you are about.
Yeah, do that.
Mixed corporate media.
The Secret Council 10. I mean, I'm not
No, don't say that. Say mixed corporate media.
Okay.
And talk McLuhan shit.
Okay, well I've got it rolling right now. So tell me who you are.
I'm Bob Dobbs. I'm a Menippean satire on the mixed corporate media environment. Oh, but I wasn't looking. Let me look. I'll do that.
Okay, hold on.
Good.
Okay, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
Okay, I'm going to look into the camera now. You ready? Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm Bob Dobbs. I'm a Manipian satire on the mixed corporate media. Oh, I did that wrong.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
No, I didn't. I got to say it again.
No,
Do it again.
It's actually going to help me for editing more than anything else because I probably won't even use that, but I'll just have it under word Bob Dobbs mix satire.
Oh, you're going to
Yeah,
write that.
Okay, and just tell me what you do. Tell me what you do.
Okay.
Tell me what you do and how Louis applies to you.
Mix.
Who are you?
I'm Mick Jagger.
And what do you do? Okay, hold on. I threw a boner at you. Let me give you time to think about
No.
that.
I'm just thinking. Okay, go ahead. It's going.
It's going.
Okay. Don't do that. Okay. Get that smirk off my face. Okay, pinch. All right. I'm Bob Dobbs. I'm a Manipian satire in the mixed corporate media environment in our global theater.
Good. Okay. How has Louis affected your life?
Louis hasn't affected my life, but I arranged that it would affect everybody else's life.
Do you take full responsibility for Louis?
Yes.
Do you know Richard Berry?
Yes.
Do you know the Kingsmen?
Yes.
Do you know?
Do you know Eric? Do you know Bob? Do you know PK? Hey,
know him.
All right.
named Joe in Brooklyn.
But I've never heard of Paul Revere. I've never heard of him.
All right.
Okay, so I can't use that.
Talk about Camille Paglia and Louis.
What did Camille say? Do you know what you said somewhere? It's in the article.
I haven't read it. I don't know.
Okay,
Don't ask me.
Stop the tape.
Put
If I
on pause
comment-
just for a second.
Yeah, let me
It's
see
right
what you said.
here.
I can comment on what she said.
No, it's not she said. He just throws out the Camille thing for a second. Here, so teach your postmodern pedagogues, blah, 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 blah.
Pedagog.
So teach. Yeah,
But Warhol got
yeah,
exactly
blow
right
some-
about the general ambition of life and a mediocrity. Trash is no longer a dispensable piece of fun, but an indispensable appliance of temporary existence. Yeah. So teach our postmodern pedagogues. Paglia be thy name. So he didn't. Termite trash. You haven't read this.
Not all of it. It's hard to get in one sitting. There's a lot of shit there.
Yeah. So
If you want a copy, call the 800 number, and it gives me bonus points.
is that right?
Yeah, sure. I'll give you some extra copies of the magazine too. So.
Carol, you going to sleep? What page you get to?
1:30.
Was it
Are you
was it
rolling,
the end of a
Eric?
section?
I will be.
Oh, don't.
So how was it?
Come on, Eric. Bob,
Read it
he
tomorrow,
can't
you
hold
can.
it in pause.
Read some tomorrow.
Bob,
Okay.
talk about the electronic environment in Louis. You
Already
know,
did
what
that.
rock
Okay.
and roll.
I'll try to do it again.
Is Louis addictive?
For every generation, yes. Because the computer environment is nature, it's staying here, and the effects of the computer environment, even though subsumed in the satellite and the virtual reality and immersion technology environments, the computer effect stays around for every new generation that has to move through the radio TV phases. So yes, Louis will represent the effects of that for people forever.
Have you ever had a religious experience involving Louis?
No.
Do you have any favorite versions of Louis?
No.
Do you have any body parts named Louis?
No.
Okay. Do you have any small animals named Louis?
No.
Okay. Were you really in Dallas in November 22nd?
I wasn't in Dallas. I was in Paris on November 22nd, 1963. And I was actually talking to some people involved with the distribution of Louis on that day.
How did you?
It's part of my business that day.
How did you survive?
Since then, how did I or how do I?
Yeah.
No, how did I?
Yeah.
Oh, how did I survive getting away with the Kennedy assassination?
Uh-huh.
Because if you do it, then you can control the information about it. And when the CIA and the DIA and the FBI is working for you, then they'll follow your orders. So the information environment on the Secret Council 10 is manipulable. So it's all information, so it's easy to control.
Do you know how to tell if a politician is lying?
Yes. You know how you do it? You put them on TV, and TV X-rays them more than they're aware of.
Yeah.
It's like looking at their aura. That's why television X-rayed all cultures and made all cultures look puny, and that created the identity crisis, would let led to absurdities like Louie Louie. All right, as a release. So yes, television makes everybody look like they're lying.
Do you have any theories why J. Edgar Hoover hated Louie Louie?
Because you want me to tell you why he really did from Secret Council 10 level, or make up a bullshit reason?
No, the real reason.
The real reason he hated Louie Louie is because he knew I was instrumental in it, and that I was predicting the effects of the computer environment, and he knew the computer environment would cause incredible crisis for his image, so he knew what Louie Louie was really about, and that's why he hated it. So he harassed it just to bother me.
And that got the director laughing.
All right, okay. I think I've milked it. I can't think of any other questions here, unless you can think
This
of...
is stupid. You're not going to use any of this shit, man, other than the nice little thing I said. So.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So let's we might as well stop.
Okay,
because
all right.
You can't use the little nice thing I said.
Yeah,
about
yeah.
Fucking computer and a Beatles damn thing,
And then it made the
2-bit world.
Beatles warm. Happiness is a warm
Gun.
Louis.
So
Do you have any body parts named Louis? That's a good one.
No, baby, I like Louis.
All right. I throw that out to everybody.
Do you?
Okay.
Well, not everybody. If they have a good sense of humor, I will.
I did,
Have they
so I-
responded?
Oh, yeah, Don Gallucci, the keyboardist, said he had a body part, but he wouldn't say what part it was. I don't know if I'll use it or not, but we'll see.
So you can those two statements, the Louis Lepke and the other one, are the ones that you can.
I might use it. Depends on how I feel. I mean,
You might not even use it.
maybe I will. Maybe I will. I don't know.
Just
we'll
put a
see.
picture of it. Bob Dobbs couldn't comment.
Yeah, right.
71 years, President of the Secret Council 10, can't use his stuff. Just say that.
Use a picture
We'll
of
see.
Garrett.
I don't know what I'm using it. Sort of leave it up
He's
in
just
the air.
gathering it.
Flash on the picture of Garrett and then say, we couldn't show Bob speaking.
No, we'll see. I don't know what I'm doing yet. So.
Yeah, you got it. You got it on file. That's what we did it for. You can do what you want with it. It's your stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me. Why don't you write out your name and sign the little release.
All right, the release.
And then you got to. Be sure you autograph it and make sure you write your name as you want it and give me a title. I think you said something like media.
Manipian.
Give me a pin.
Okay.
No, Manipian. What did you say about?
Manipian satire that makes corporate media environment.
Manipian satire of mixed corporate.
Okay, that's good.
Date July
22nd.
July 20. Well, that's a good date to put it down on. 22 is a good number.
When you asked him to choose his favorite number, why did you do that?
Oh, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
No,
I have time code.
Oh, so you have
Yeah.
to set a number.
Yeah, just put a number in there. Put 14. You're 13? 14?
14.
14. Yeah. So, yeah, it's.
But we
it's
didn't use
14
the
hours.
second 20 minutes?
We used 30 minutes. So I have 10 minutes left, but I'll use it somewhere else.
Yeah.
I can always use videotapes. So that's cool. I'm going to meet with Ricky Valera tomorrow, and he's going to tell me about the band with Richard Berry. So I think, just fun satire is going to be good too. So it'll be cool.
Oh, yeah, because you got so much to deal with. You
It's
can
all like
have
cartoon.
a little. Huh?
It's all like cartoon,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the cartoon guy, and I will censor because he doesn't want to make it obviously a cartoon.
Yeah. We'll see. Let me just use the director's prerogative when I have all the material in front of me.
Yeah, well, this is not going to upset the Secret Council 10 whether I'm in the movie or not. It doesn't matter,
Okay.
The work goes on.
Okay. All right.
Signature, signature of performer.
Okay. Sure.
Okay. Now you want it printed, or what was it you were
What I
saying?
want you to do
Address?
is sign your name, and then if you could print your name underneath.
Yeah.
Print your name, print your mailing address, and that would be good.
don't have
Let
a
me
mail-
gather all the
intermediaries.
stuff up here. So
No, he can just use my mail.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. I'll just, whoever wants to get the mail, basically. So.
Yeah. Bob. Address of performer right above in this part here, in this space.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. So.
It's flexible. You could write. I don't even need a witness or anything really. The important thing is just write your address. And that way, what I want to do is every time I do an interview with somebody, I put them on the database.
Right.
And that way I know that this person's already done it, and then I can generate these nice little lists that tell me these are all the people that I've interviewed so far.
Yeah.
Which I could show you if I find it on there.
90291, right, Jerry?
Yeah.
2427 Glendon Avenue, Venice, California, 90291. Signature witness, that's not necessary. So there it is.
You wrote who you were, Menippean.
Oh, yeah.
And you are Bob Dobbs.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I put...
And it says that on your driver's license.
Yeah. A Menippean satire.
Of the mixed corporate media.
Do I put I am? No, because you're just going to put that. A Menippean satire on the mixed corporate media.
Short titles are best. Social humorous is good too.
No, just, okay, short
'Cause
title.
I like short little terms that are easy to understand.
Yeah, you'll say, Bob Dobbs, the mixed corporate media environment. That's what I am. I am the mixed corporate...
Just mixed corporate media.
I'm the mixed corporate media.
Yeah.
How about media artist?
No.
Media
No,
artist.
See, you're fitting it in. I'm bigger than that.
And do Menippean satires.
Manipulative satirist is good.
Okay, Menippean satirist.
Manipulative?
No, Menippean refers to the Greek writer Menippus.
Ooh, that's a strange term. I'm hesitant
that's
to
what
use
we're
that
going to
one.
put. Just put Menippean satirist, all right?
We'll see.
Right? No, Menippean, not even...
We'll see.
Oh, Jesus. Like, you put, say, kill Kennedy, fucking stupid person, you know?
I'm just,
Bob,
you know.
put Menippean satirist and then put mixed corporate media, and then he'll...
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, basically, it's going to be a while before I edit it anyways, but, you know, I want to have cute little titles.
Right.
I want words that people understand, and I want a good catchphrase, you know, like 2 words, tell me who you are.
Yeah.
Musician, artist, disc jockey, music historian, whatever you are. You know?
Menippean satirist.
Okay, Menippean satirist, and then what was the other one?
Mixed corporate media.
All right. Well, you know, it's
the
workable.
mixed corporate media.
Whatever.
Just mixed corporate media.
Just mixed, because he can't use more than 3 words.
Yeah, A, B.
You know, and I'm hesitant to use a Greek term because it's Greek to me. In more ways than one.
But it's good, Eric.
What's hyphenated there, Jerry?
Yeah.
Look on mixed corporate. Oh, look. I never remember which is hyphenated. No, corporate media is hyphenated. Mixed.
So the next issue of Religion Month Club, I'm going to do something on holes. So we're actually going to just talk about all the holes that, you know, inspire holes that...
Well, one of them, you know, that's what Jean Houston was saying today. She was talking about a hole that we're made up of holes, and the immune system breaks down. She's talking about AIDS patients. The immune system breaks down, they become filled with holes, and they become holy, and then you get holistic medicine. So there's a lot of puns there.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. I'm going to just play with that whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, I'll also use it as an excuse to get albums and review albums, whatever I feel like writing them at the time.
Right.
Because, you know, I'll just say I'll review anything with a hole. So, you know, if the music has a hole in it, like a CD or the record, you know, then I'll review it. So.
Okay. So A is Menippean,
Okay.
M-E-N-I-P-P-A-N, Menippean satirist, or mixed corporate media.
Okay. All right.
Hyphenated corporate media.
Okay,
So just
all right.
mixed corporate media.
Okay, we'll play with it. So.
Here's your pen.
Okay, cool.
So I'm going to my glasses.
Okay. Yeah. It's about 10 something right here.
10:22. On the 22nd.
Sure.
So Doug just said that he couldn't make it tonight. He was saying he was
Yeah.
late and all that. Yeah, I forgot about that. That's
He's
good.
working like a slave. It worked perfect.
Where's he work?
What?
He's a potter.
Oh, okay. I got a friend named Potter. Anybody? No, never mind.
A porter. A potter.
You see, that's another reason why you can I can kill Kennedy and get away with it, because if someone's taping you doing that, then they're involved and they're too scared to be associated with it, so they'll say no,
Right, it's
don't put that in
guilt
there.
by association.
Yeah,
Do
guilt
you
by
believe in guilt by association?
I don't believe in it. It's a fact.
I'm going to turn this off here if I knew
It's
how
a
to do it.
fact.
Do I know how to do it?
That's what sociology is all about.